like how if a child cannot crawl, cannot cross their midline, that's like reaching across to like, this is your midline, that center of your body. And if you can't cross it and do movements that like help you move across, it's going to be a lot harder for you to coordinate the two sides of your body, which includes your two eyes, to be able to do things like reading across the page.
Well, if we're being in full disclosure, they did take crawling out as a developmental norm now, right?
They sure did.
So that means there's going to be a lot more kiddos that are having more difficulty because parents were used to be informed that their child should be crawling, and that's part of the normal developmental process. And now that's no longer what is required by the American Association of Pediatrics. A lot of kiddos that might have been flagged for not crawling are now going to get even farther in their academic career, not having had those things be rehabilitated or taught or developmentally impacted.
I feel like, there's been so much great movement forward in understanding how children develop and how children grow and how children learn in so many wonderful ways. And in that process, sometimes we have kind of let some things go by the wayside. Whereas, like, I feel like, the idea of telling moms every child develops in their own time, every kiddo is going to learn how to walk eventually, unless there's, bigger issues, and et cetera, et cetera. But in that, then there's also been this like, but it's okay if they don't. They'll end up getting around. It's okay if they don't crawl. They'll end up getting around. And that's true. But then there's a loss of those very intricate steps. When a child is crawling, they're building a lot of coordination and visual skills in particular. That, if you just go right from, lying down to running, there's a lot that's missed in there. But sorry, go ahead.
I think that we do need to remember that as our children, like our little babies, are learning or developing, they're actually learning the world and they're learning how to interact with it. They're learning that if I do this, then that. And that's something that's on a conscious level. And for the most part, it's on an unconscious level because they're really just kind of absorbing all this information and their brain is doing all these trials, all the experiments constantly throughout the day. And a lot of things are things that parents can't really observe or they can't course correct. And so if your child isn't speaking properly, as a parent, you can hear that. If a child isn't walking properly or is walking too late or things like that, as a parent, you can see that. However, with vision, there's no way for a parent to be like, oh, something's not going right here. You haven't developed appropriate depth perception.
Right.
And that's not something that a parent is going to be able to pick up on. And so the visual process is just so intricate and so personal that's why we were so impressed by this 10-year-old being able to express what he's seeing so eloquently, because it's such a personal process that there's no reason for him to think that that's not how every other person sees. And so when it comes to a child and all of the skills that they're developing when they're learning to crawl, so not even like full on crawling yet, when you're learning to crawl, like when you're doing your rocking back and forth and you're starting to develop that flexibility from being able to look far away and up close and far away and up close and decide, I really want that thing that's over there. So what do I need to do to get there? Oh, let me try to move this toe. That didn't do anything. Let me try to move this pinky. Didn't do anything. Let me try to move my head. Didn't do anything. Oh, this arm? There is some progress with that. Now what? Those are all the things that our brain is constantly doing. And as parents, you're just like, oh, they're cute. And like not really thinking about all the things. It's like, it's like, oh no, they're mobile now. What do we do? And so it's that sort of thing. But they're learning through every step of that process. And every kind of check and balance that they're doing with themselves is what's building up their processing system and how they're going to take information in going forward. So if they skip that whole time period of crawling and go straight to walking, they haven't gotten to problem solve in that way. So then they need to learn that sort of problem solving in a different way and try to build up that brain processing ability in a less natural developmental process.